This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Bergamy.
And so begins yet another Farm Monitor experience, just like it has every week since 1966. Welcome all, so glad you tuned in. I'm Ray DeLessio.
And I'm Kenny Bergamy. Sit back, relax, because we have got a really good show for you today. Now coming up, the planting season was a difficult one for onion growers, but wait until you hear how it all came together in just a short amount of time. Pretty amazing stuff. Also, a unique story out of Kentucky on how these ladies at an extension office are using plastic grocery bags as a way to help the homeless. Something you don't want to miss. Plus,
well, hey everybody, Ranger Nick coming up. I'm hanging out at a cattle farm in southeast Georgia and learning about what Extension's doing to help these folks. And if you want to know how they can help you, stick around. That and so much more starts right now on the Farm Monitor.
We're now less than 2 months away from harvest season for Georgia's official state vegetable, the Vidalia Onion. This despite numerous weather delays during the planting season. Damon Jones tells you how record rainfall over the past few months has affected this year's crop.
They say the sweet Vidalia onion only makes you cry when they're gone. However, there were some tears for growers this year as wet weather wreaked havoc on the planting season.
It really wasn't smooth this year with all the rain. We pretty much started, got prepared, got our first maybe 50 acres in, and then we received 6.5 inches of rain, which made that a little bit of a challenge trying to keep moving ahead.
These untimely rains caused plenty of stopping and starting in the fields. That meant cramming the entire planting season into a couple of weeks.
So we would basically work the dirt for 4 days and then plant for 2, and then it would rain again. So we had to condense our whole planting season, which usually, if it doesn't rain much, it usually takes us around 25 to 30 days to finish. We were basically trying to do that in about 10 days when you really looked at the whole thing.
From November 1st to pretty much January 1st, we had 31 days with a measurable rain event. So that gave us a little headache during the planting season. But all things considering, right now I think the crop looks pretty good considering all it went through at the early part of the season.
These conditions caused a less than ideal growing season as well, as the constant rain wasn't the only cause for concern. Unlike the previous few years, temperatures dropped well below freezing, which has delayed the maturity.
In our mind, because we've been used to the last few years it being a little warmer, so we're used to the plants being a little bigger right now. So this is pretty much more of an average crop as far as how it grows. That mixed in with the wet soil and the colder soil, you know, we want it to be further along than what it is, but you know, we had to keep looking at the calendar and realizing it's just now the 1st of February, so we'll be okay.
We've had a little bit of a cooler, wetter soil, so that's probably, maybe slowed us down a little bit. They're probably not as growing quite as fast as they have in the last couple of years when we've had a little bit warmer weather than we have right now.
But that won't slow down harvest season from quickly approaching, which means farmers must be diligent in the final couple of months.
Weather changes, weather patterns, it seems like it changes every day here in Georgia, that we just want to make sure that we try to keep them on schedule, whether it's with their fungicide sprays, their fertility program, anything like that. We're just trying to keep them on schedule and just give them that advice.
So with all that being said, what can consumers expect from this year's crop?
I don't think the crop will be as huge as it has been the last couple of years because of the season being a little different. The rain at first, a little bit colder winter, or experiencing a little cooler temperatures. So it may not be quite as big, but I think that we're going to have plenty of volume and plenty of quality that we need to be able to supply to our customers.
Reporting from Toombs County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
meantime, cotton producers from across the state gathered in Tifton recently for the Georgia Cotton Commission's annual meeting. The event highlighted the commission's work and provided growers with vital information about the upcoming growing season. John Holcomb was there and has the story.
At the University of Georgia's Tifton Conference Center, producers from all across the state gathered for a meeting about Georgia's cotton, which is vital to the Georgia ag industry. They got to hear updates on research, outlook, and even got to hear what is being done for them in Atlanta as well as D.C.
2018, as far as the council concerned, was a pretty successful year policy-wise. There were several things that we were able to accomplish. We were able to get cotton back into 2014 Farm Bill. We were able to work with administration and Secretary Perdue in getting another Gen Cost Share program implemented. We were able to work with Congress in getting a new Farm Bill passed. So there have been some success stories in 2018, and you know, we're just happy to get those things accomplished for the cotton growers in the U.S.
Mr. Tate also spoke about what they're doing to try to help producers affected by Hurricane Michael.
Council is trying to work with the Senate and the House in Washington and with the Agriculture and Appropriations Committees there, trying to find some remedies, some ways to get some assistance to the growers who have gone through this tough year in 2018.
The meeting also offered several educational sessions. One was on diseases and pests, which was led by Dr. Kemmerite. He spoke about the upcoming season and how producers just have one chance for a good crop.
Cotton growers have one chance, and one chance only, unless they have to replant, to fight seedling diseases, to fight nematodes, to make the right variety selection. So I want them to be informed. Whatever decision growers make, think about that one chance to plant, one chance to get your variety, one chance to put out the nematicides or whatever.
Kemmerite also spoke about how producers need to be actively thinking about how to combat diseases and pests before the season gets here.
We've got target spot in the environment. We've got areola mildew in the environment. We've got bacterial blight, and now we have a new viral disease, which we're still working on a name for it, but it's newly recognized. How new it is, I don't know. But with these new diseases, the virus, the bacteria, and with the fungal diseases, they need to make sure they have in their mind how they're going to build a wall. That's my message. We've got to build a wall to protect that crop from those diseases.
There was also a session on economics, which focused on what prices they think cotton will be at next year. And with the current global economy and trade disputes, things aren't looking very good.
The global economy is expected to slow down at 3.5%. That is caused by slowdown in China, slowdown in Germany, slowdown in the U.S. as well, plus the trade tension happening globally that impact cotton as well in terms of the tariff implemented by China on raw U.S. cotton.
Unfortunately, because of all those factors, they think cotton is going to be lower than it was last year.
We haven't experienced like over 80 cents per pound and over 90 cents per pound for cotton for several years, since 2014. So what we experienced last year is very good price, but we cannot expect that will happen again or difficult to happen again in the coming years.
Reporting in Tifton for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
Well, hey everybody, Ranger Nick coming up. We're talking extension and how an extension professional in Georgia is helping these ladies and the farmers that take care of them. You're not going to want to miss it, and it's after this.
Every facet of agriculture requires work. It doesn't matter if it's research, it doesn't matter if it's actual production, it doesn't matter if it's picking cotton. Agriculture means work.
It's a challenging industry. You just have to stick with it and work hard at it. That's about all you can say about the poultry industry. Cattle industry, the same way.
Things change. Every year there's new things, new ways to do things, new chemicals, new seed, varieties change.
One of the big resources that we utilize here on the farm is the extension agent. We use the extension agent for a variety of things, from identifying weeds on the farm and proper spraying techniques. We can get all sorts of recertifications for our pesticide license through our extension agent.
We'll get them to check a field for us or research something for me that that I want to know more about.
Premium Peanut, we're only about 3 years old as a company, but we're owned by 350 farmers, 350 peanut growers. They're integral to agriculture in the state. But integral to that whole agricultural process is the University of Georgia and the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences and Extension.
You know, University of Georgia Extension and Georgia Cattlemen's Association have a long-standing partnership. We partner on lots and lots of activities. Georgia Cattlemen's relies very heavily on Extension for a lot of things, for connection to research, for connection to experts. Whatever that newest information is that's coming, Extension realizes they're the transportation method for that information to get it from the universities to the producers.
There's no doubt it's a huge benefit to have the University of Georgia here in our state and working with farmers and local businesses and having access from a food perspective like to Food Pick. So we're just a small independent dairy that went to Food Pick and was able to get access to some of the best research people in the country. That's a huge benefit.
They stay on top of things and they have answers before some of the other people do, and they have an unbiased opinion on different products or what we need to do and what we need to use, and their research is so much more extensive than some of these others.
There's things there that might take a lifetime to learn. So why not take advantage of what they've got? And it's already being paid for. You may have to pay for some of the services, but they're minimal compared to if you went outside and hired professionals to come in and help you with the same amount of things, data-wise, the same kind of knowledge you're going to get from the extension is a fraction of the cost if you went and hired it in the private sector.
Myself and every farmer, we're limited on time. We try and accomplish as much as we can every minute of every day, and having the agents to be the in-between helps us save time.
The University of Georgia and the College of Agriculture has been just a tremendous partner in everything that we do. As I said, from extension to research projects to serving as advisors and consultants for us.
We need to recognize the incredible service that it provides. As all of us are taxpayers, all of us are citizens, and we all have a vested interest in utilizing the great asset that is within this university system. When you look into the future, what are those challenges I'm facing as a grower? What are those challenges I'm facing as a rural leader? What are those challenges that I might be facing as trying to develop the rural economy? There's no better place to go than the University of Georgia.
I mean, you could go to your local feed and seed dealer and you could ask questions there, and you can ask your neighbors when you meet them at church or run into them at a restaurant. But, to have actual trained professionals and scientists that are actually looking at things and being able to access that, it's a good use of our tax dollars.
In his 6+ years of contributing to the Farm Monitor, Ranger Nick has become known for many things, but two really stand out. Number one, his incredible enthusiasm, and believe me when I say it is natural and not caffeinated enthusiasm. And number two, those horrible puns. In fact, as his personal photographer and field producer for the segments, Nick will tell you I only allow him 2 per episode. This month, however, I made an exception because even for me, what I witnessed him doing was a moving experience.
Well, if you've been watching the show over the years, you know that I'm a big fan of cooperative extension and the individuals that make a difference every day on farms and in families and with 4-H youth all over Georgia. Wherever you are in the country, you've got an extension agent or 2 or 3 to rely on for help. And I want to introduce you to one today in South Georgia that was a former student of mine and that's helping out on a farm, Mr. Colby Royal. Colby, good to see you again. Had to put up with me as a teacher and things, and I'm so glad he's joining me. Colby, for the folks at home that may not know what extension is or what an extension agent does, explain to me a day in the life of Colby Royal. What are you doing as an agent here?
Well, as an extension agent, it's a very diverse job. We change day to day. We here today. We're out here with some cattle. We're going to work some cattle, do some deworming maybe, and maybe check on some forage samples.
Excellent.
And the extension agents also do row crops, fruit and vegetables and stuff like that. But today, we're going to check on some cattle.
And I know very little about this, if the folks at home can probably tell. I don't have a lot of experience with cattle, and so I'm relying on Colby, and the farmers here are relying on him too. So I'd like to experience this deworming process and some of these other things. So let's do this together and show the folks at home the benefits that this guy brings to farmers here. Well, that was pretty cool getting to see that process in place. And we understand folks at home probably know why deworming occurs, but Colby, why are you here today in this process? What's your role?
Today I'm here pretty much just assisting, being an extra set of hands and kind of falling in with the operation. I usually work in row crops and watermelons.
Really? Okay.
But today we're going to do some cattle, and I'm just here to help.
So, I mean, as a potential career, folks that are looking for diversity in a job, Colby's passion, more the vegetable side, but he's out here as an extra set of hands. Really, really cool thing to know there's that assistance. Awesome. Well, there's no doubt in extension work, we say that we get into what we do, sometimes quite literally, Colby. And what we're about to do is use these gloves, thank goodness for the gloves, to check and see if a cow is pregnant. And Colby is one that would come out to a farm to help do this. And so we're going to demonstrate that for you. It's something I've never done before, once in a lifetime, maybe one only time in my life to do it. So let's experience this together right now. I feel something hard, but it's off to this side now. Okay, I felt it. Wow, holy cow. So now I'm gonna ease out. Sorry, lady, can't be good. Wow, that's so cool. Holy cow, holy cow. That's so neat. Nice stuff, wow. Well, the gloves are off, the hands are clean. We're talking about some wonderful looking food here for those great cows we've seen here at True Grit Farm. And one of the things that Colby does as part of his role as an agent is make sure that this kind of food is of good quality, cottonseed and corn, but also the food behind us is of good quality too. Colby, what is your role in making sure that before it gets to a bale like this stuff is good enough for those guys to eat?
Well, during the growing season, we'll come out here and scout for army worms and other pests, and we'll have a spray plan put in place if we need to. And then we'll take a hay sample from this and send it to UGA for testing, and it'll tell us our TDN, total digestible nutrients, and our RFQ, which is relative forage quality, and that'll tell the cattle producer the quality of their hay.
And that's UGA, that's Extension. In whatever state you're in, you've got that kind of service. Colby, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Man, we had a good time. Thank you. You did a great job. Y'all, in your neck of the woods, in your state, in your county, you've got an agent like this. My homework assignment for you, reach out to them, introduce yourself to them, and make sure you get to know them because they can help you, and so often it's free service. Well, y'all know what to do. Hop online, check out the Georgia Farm Monitor Facebook page, and while you're there, check out the Ranger Nick Facebook page while you're looking up all those extension agents. And for the Farm Monitor, I'll say, I'm Ranger Nick, reminding you, enthusiasm is contagious. So pass it on. Y'all, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you right back here when we get back together again next month. See ya.
Nick, thank you so much. Up next, we hear from another UGA professor, poultry science professor Brian Jordan. The topic, vaccination innovations for the poultry industry.
My name is Brian Jordan, and I'm an assistant professor here in the departments of population health and poultry science. So my job focuses on the interface of how our production practices influence our disease management strategies, and then how our disease management strategies can be incorporated into our current production practices. It's very important to think about all of our chickens, meat chickens, egg-laying chickens as well, because ultimately the health status of those birds is going to translate to potential health factors for humans. For many of our poultry diseases, vaccination is the best control strategy. We produce so many chickens, you can imagine that we couldn't vaccinate each chicken individually. Our chickens are typically divided into groups as they come through out of the incubators and hatcheries and come down the processing line, and then they are spray vaccinated with one of any number of respiratory viral vaccines, some bacterial vaccines. On the coccidia side, I'm currently working on trying to design some assays to be able to profile and differentiate these strains, which will allow us to have a much better idea of how well our vaccines are infecting, replicating, and developing immunity in our birds versus how much of a field challenge we actually have. So if we can maintain the health of our birds, especially maintaining their gut health, then a lot of times we can prevent the prevalence, the distribution, and the growth of a lot of these bacteria. And if they're not growing in the bird, then they're not going to get on the meat, contaminate any kind of meat or table eggs when they go into the food chain.
Well, finally this week, time to take you outside those fence rows. And if you're like Kenny and I, overwhelmed by all those plastic grocery store bags that just seem to multiply before you know it, turns out they now have a more useful purpose besides garbage can liners and lunch bags.
A group of extension homemakers in eastern Kentucky taking these bags and crocheting them together to form colorful mats. The mats then given to the homeless to use as a bedroll that repels water, is more comfortable than the hard ground. Jeff Franklin from the University of Kentucky visited the homemakers as they weaved the mats into works of art.
For about 6 years now, these Boyd County Extension homemakers have been getting together at least once a week at the Boyd County Extension office to make mats like these, of different colors, patterns, and designs. Barbara Preston, a longtime extension homemaker, discovered the idea in a magazine at her church and shared it with the other homemakers.
The mats are made from grocery bags, and you cut them in strips, hook them together, and then make them just like a ball of yarn, but we call it plarn because it's plastic.
It takes between 500 and 700 bags to make one mat, 6 feet long and 3 feet wide, standard size, with a handle where it can be rolled up and used to carry over the shoulder. The homemakers pour about 35 hours into making one mat, but for Barbara Preston, it is a labor of compassion.
It's just something that touched my heart. Not only the homeless people, but the environment too, because this keeps the plastic from being put into the landfills. We're really helping more than just the homeless. We're spreading the service to our community.
With the MAP project, the whole concept behind it was to help those that don't have four walls, traditional four walls, someplace warm and dry to sleep.
Most of the homemakers are experienced crocheters, like Lana Plymel, who says the main difference in regular crocheting and this is the size of the needle because of the plastic bags.
And you take it underneath and you hook it and it makes your loop.
Another method is Amish or toothbrush weaving, creating a tighter weave. Everyone has a job, from flattening the bags to cutting them into strips, tying them together, and rolling them into a ball. That was Vicki Dunn's job, who came to learn as a community volunteer.
It was an opportunity for me to contribute to the community, and I think that the homeless, they stress me out. When I see them, I'm the person that's going to stop and give them money, and this is a better way of doing it.
One of the groups that benefit from the mats made by the homemakers is located here at Central Park in Ashland, known as the Ministry Without Walls, that distribute those mats to the homeless who gather at this gazebo here at Central Park. Those who have received the mats say they provide warmth and keep moisture away, while allowing them to have a comfortable place to sleep. From the University of Kentucky College of Agriculture, Food and Environment, I'm Jeff Franklin reporting.
Jeff, thank you so much. And adding to that story, community members as well as businesses donate the bags for the mats. And according to the homemakers, in the 6 years they've been making them, they have created more than 100 mats. And hey, if you ever run out of bags, Kenny and I, we've got tons of them. So just give us a call.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Farm Monitor. Before you go, a reminder for all the latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening out on the farm. Be sure you check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of farming, plus with us right here on the show.
Take care, everybody. We will see you next week right here on the Farm Monitor.
As always, have a great week.